Hi, guys. Welcome to A Little Bit of Woo Woo. I'm your host, Jill Thomas. I'm so happy to see you guys. This is the Friday before Thanksgiving. I'm recording this at 3 p.m. Pacific. I'll get it up as soon as it gets done rendering. But I just wanted to talk about what's going on in the world, you guys. And I just found my notes. Okay. So I'm doing my December video a little early because I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be on again before the end of the month, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Oh my god, December is gonna be crazy. I tuned into the energy. It was really weird. I'm so happy Jacqueline is gonna be on, frequent guest on the show. Jacqueline Holton's gonna give us the astrology outlook I think next week. She's gonna be on just after Thanksgiving, so I'm excited about that. But we're gonna talk about the energy because it just feels a little weird. And I was looking at stuff going on and I was seeing a lot of changes happening. So, first things first, you guys know I say this every time. I am not a doctor, a lawyer, a stock portfolio manager, and you really shouldn't listen to me. You should make your decisions based on your own intuition. You guys know stuff. And as often as I am right, which is a lot, I am sometimes just plain wrong. So just know that going into this is just for entertainment purposes only. And I'm so happy to see you guys because I love you guys so much. So, interestingly enough, after the Fed saying for weeks that there was going to be no rate cuts in December, oh my God, you guys stop doing it. All of a sudden, the betting market went from like a 25% chance of a rate cut to a 75% chance of a rate cut with nothing on the news. So somebody is behind closed doors sending emails letting everybody know that they've decided to change the rates. I wouldn't mind being in on that email chain, you guys. I'm just saying, inside information. Of course, that would be illegal. If anybody got inside information, that would be illegal, wouldn't it? Anyway, but clearly people have gotten some kind of memo. So I'm going to say a hard yes on the December rate cuts. I feel like, you guys already know this. Maybe some of you don't. The Fed doesn't work for you and I. Fed doesn't work for Trump either. The Fed works for the banks. They work for JP Morgan Chase. They work for Jamie Dimon. That's who they work for. So when the stock market goes down, the people that have borrowed money from the banks to get stuff on leverage and they're in trouble, the banks call up the Fed and say, hey, you guys have to do something about this. Oh, we can't lose any money. Anyway, that's just how that game is played. That's the way it is. And don't think for 1 second that the Fed works for us because they don't work for us. They don't work for Trump either, which he's figured out because he's tried to fire the Fed chair many times and has not been able to for lots of reasons. So interestingly enough, you guys, I gotta shout out somebody whose thing I really liked. Are You Effing Kidding Me has a Substack page, and today's article was Mother Mary Full of Shiz. And it was about Carolyn Levitt. I'm going to put a link in the description because I was laughing my bohiney off of that one because it was so funny. So I tuned into Carolyn Levitt. My first thought, you guys heard the comment, I'm sure, quiet piggy, that he said to the reporter who is, I think she's a Bloomberg reporter. Interestingly enough, one thing I want to say about her, that reporter, is that I'm very impressed. She could very well have gone on the Poor Me tour and told everybody how awful it was what he did. Instead, she was a professional, and I'm sure that she has dealt with douchebaggery in her life as a career as a reporter. So I've got to give her credit for not going on the "that was so terrible" train. I When I heard that comment, I'm like, she's going to handle it just fine. But my first thought was, I wonder how Carolyn Levitt is going to spin this, you guys. And I feel like she made it worse by saying, that's just the way he is, you guys. He's just being transparent. So I looked into her a little bit. Definitely see her as a commentator on Fox News in the future. If you guys are fans, you don't need to worry. She's going to be just fine. If you're not fans, she's going to be just fine. So that's just the way it is. That's what I was seeing with her. She has a long career ahead of her. Whether she's happy with it or not, that's not for either of us to say. But I would say that she's going to be just fine. Okay. And interestingly enough, what I was also concerned about was the fact that on the same day that our president was saying something nice about the king of Saudi Arabia. I'm probably saying that wrong. Maybe he's not the king. Somebody who's been accused of murdering a reporter, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. Yeah, he was talking nice. He was defending him, and then we're talking about this quiet piggy comment instead. And it bothers me that that was what was, first and foremost on the news, when really this other thing was kind of more shocking to me. But that's just my opinion, you guys. You always get a little bit of my opinion when I do these videos. Let's talk about Epstein files. Let's talk about that. Okay, so what's coming out and when? I do feel like they're going to do everything they can to delay. I do feel like we're going to get us something fairly soon. It may be 1,000 pages of stuff we've already seen, and they're gonna do it in, like, little I feel like there's gonna be little drips, and then there's gonna be a massive rollout thinking that we aren't gonna be able to sift through it, which is not true. People are gonna sift through it. Absolutely, looking for all kinds of stuff. And there will be a lot of redactions, and there will be a lot of people looking for patterns that they're gonna find, because this crew that redacted, they did I feel like they did a good job of blacking things out, but they always miss stuff. The other thing that I think is interesting to know is that, for those of you who are really concerned that the original files are gone forever, the Resistance Live, who has a YouTube channel, you should watch it. She did a video on that and how many copies of this are probably out in different parts of the world. I think she's right. I think that there is originals everywhere. The other thing I was hearing was that, and she may have even said this, I didn't watch the whole video, but that some of the victims' lawyers have seen these emails. So when the originals come out, when they come out and there's redactions or they're worded differently, you'll see lawyers saying, hey, I saw the original. It doesn't look like that. So there will be a lot of pushback. But what I was seeing, though, with this, the intuitive part of what I was getting, is that as soon as we start to get some of these data dumps, we're going to get people on the other end, like some of the people that received the emails, not necessarily the DOJ's copy, but the receiver or the sender copies. And if there's differences, we're going to be hearing about it. Lots of information is going to start to come out from other sources. I feel like it's almost like, okay, it's okay now. We have permission to send all this information out. We're going to be seeing a lot of information from people, unexpected people who sent or received emails from the Epstein, from Jeffrey Epstein, or from him somehow, victims' families, different bits of information is going to come out from lots of sources. And it will be a lot to sift through, but trust me, there'll be plenty of people who are excited to sift through it. And yes, we are going to be seeing some names that we know. Do I think it's going to be more Democrats than Republicans? That's hard to say. I feel like it's gonna be more people that aren't alive anymore. I don't mean by, I feel like natural causes, like people who can't necessarily face consequences. The statute of limitations on these crimes, I think, ran out a long time ago. So I don't think we're gonna have, people actually going to jail for this, sadly, but I don't think that. But I do see some very sad representation. Sorry, sad. I do see a lot of reputations being destroyed on this, and some of the sad thing that one aspect I do think is kind of sad is that some of the people whose reputations will be the most destroyed are not necessarily the most guilty. They're just the least well known. So, the reporter or the person who is involved with this, who isn't famous, who didn't have enough money to get a big black mark across their name and their email address, is probably the one that we're going to be hearing about in the news, and they're just going to point to that. Okay, that is sad. But I do see the hearings. I did feel it. I mean, I think the Clintons have actually been called to testify. Um, that'll be interesting to see what happens there. I'm not sure if that's going to happen in December or January. It feels like they're going to push it till January. They're going to say the holidays, which is a fairly legitimate thing. But here's the thing: is the Clintons are, you can't rattle them. You just can't. I challenge Jasmine Crockett to rattle a Clinton. I would be interesting to see if she could even do it. But I don't think they can be rattled, you guys. I think they're just better at this. And I do feel like the attempt to pull in some of these Democrats is actually going to backfire, because we're going to be seeing people like possibly the Clintons who have more information than we previously knew about, who say, well, yeah, I was mentioned once in this email, but I have like 55,000 other emails over here. You want to see those? Oh, here you go. I do feel like we're going to be seeing more of that. Okay. I think that's going to backfire big time. That's just what I see. Um, the other thing I was seeing for December, I'm kind of going through a little list here. I do feel like we're going to lose a senator or a congressperson. They're going to pass unexpectedly. I was seeing like a funeral. I know we just lost Cheney. Cheney just died. Um, and interestingly enough, 47 was not invited to that funeral. I can't imagine why. I can't imagine why Vance and 47 were not invited to that funeral. Not sure that has nothing to do with his daughter. Anyway, but I definitely feel like we're going to be seeing another one. It's going to be unexpected. I don't know if it's going to be somebody on anybody's radar, anybody's bingo card, but I do see that happening. Natural causes, you guys, natural causes. Okay. I also see a major health challenge for the president himself. If this is not going to be his final health challenge. I wasn't seeing that. I was seeing a major health challenge that either takes him on a hiatus for a period of time and Vance gets teed up, you're up to bat, right? That kind of thing. Or he says he's coming back, but he doesn't come back. And I definitely see that happening December. And I'm not sure if he's gone in December. I was seeing that he was actually going to be gone like December, January-ish, as president for not going to be president anymore. But I think what he would be saying is he's leaving to take a health break. Vance is going to be in charge for a little bit. He's going to come back, and then he just doesn't come back. Okay. And it's not going to be a dirt bath kind of thing. I do see him when he passes. I feel like it's going to be another year. It's not for a long time. Okay, you guys. But I do feel like Vance will be in charge well before that happens. But Vance is kind of holding back here. He doesn't want to get, his hands dirty with all of this stuff with the Epstein because he really didn't have anything to do with it, and he doesn't want any part of that little drama. And he wants wants it to appear to be he's totally clean. He didn't have anything to do with it. We haven't seen him as much in the news, and that's kind of interesting. I think he's just dying to be president. We can't wait to be president. He's so excited, and I do feel like he's going to be president fairly soon here. I want to say, I thought it could be December, but I think it's most likely January, February-ish. We're going to be seeing him as the next president. For some reason, I have never really seen that he does Trump's full term either. So I don't know why that would be, but I don't feel like he's going to be there the whole time either. And if he is there, he's not like, he doesn't have this big, larger than life personality like 47 does. We may not be seeing him just as much in the screen. And he's got his own agenda, and I will definitely talk about that in my 2026 video because I've got a list of things that he would like to do a little differently than 47, but we'll talk about that later. I just don't see him being a larger than life character like Donald Trump is. And people, generally speaking, don't really like him. I mean, they don't really like him. Not even people that respect him like him all that much. So I'm just not seeing him getting a whole lot of traction. And he is not going to have the things over some of these Congress people and senators' heads that the Trump administration had. Okay, you guys. What else? Oh, yeah, you guys, I was seeing a pretty nasty weather event happening. It feels like the East Coast. I do think it's going to be like a major blizzard or something. Feels like travel's going to get messed with for sure. I do see possibly a couple of days of very scattered power outages. The reason I'm telling you guys this is because some of you may be thinking, I wonder if I should get that jet boiler, or I wonder if I have fuel for my jet boiler. Yeah, go to REI and take care of that. Just some of you guys need to just make sure you've got some emergency supplies. Like I always say, you guys, you don't have to worry so much about it. Like, don't go crazy with it, but just be prepared to be able to have a week's worth of stuff if you're trapped in your house. It's not going to be a lengthy power outage. I'm not seeing like weeks and weeks of this or anything, but I do see in some areas that we're going to see several days of conditions where people can't leave the house. And I do see it messing with travel quite a bit. Speaking of travel, you guys, I don't know if anybody else watches Captain Steve. He's a pilot. I'm not sure what airline he flies for, but he has his own channel and it's great. But I had a vision of him coming on and talking about another bad plane incident. Now, it wasn't a plane falling out of the sky and things, and I'm not even seeing like a large loss of people. What I was seeing is it may be a near miss or an accident on the ground where something happens. But I definitely see Captain Steve giving this whole report about how it happened and what happened. And I, like, again, not a large loss of life, if any, but I was seeing an accident happening in December, and we're going to be hearing about it. And it does feel like it's another one of those incident where maintenance wasn't done right or not enough maintenance. And we're going to be hearing a lot of, thoughts and prayers, hemming and hawing. Maybe we should do something about this, and never actually doing anything about this. I do feel like there's something like that coming in December. Now, I'm not saying you guys should be worried about flying. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing, like, if it looks like the kind of accident that we would be hearing about, almost like what happened with UPS, with that UPS plane. I don't know if you guys saw that. It wasn't a passenger plane, it was a cargo plane. That was really sad. Actually, quite a few people passed in that one, but I feel like there's some kind of an accident coming in December. I hesitate to say that because I don't want you guys to be afraid to fly, because I don't see that, but I'm seeing something happening that will trigger. The reason I was told to try it is I feel like it's going to trigger a change in policy that will lead to something very good. I don't know if it's they make them do the records differently, or if I don't know how the NTSB handles this, but something happens that changes the way they handle it in the future and ends up making things safer all around. But there is something like that coming in December, is what I'm seeing. Could be even January. Nah, I think I definitely see it December, because I see it like having some trouble with traveling. Also, people are asking me about Ukraine, you guys, and it's so sad what's happening to them right now. It's really bad. I do see a major development in the Ukraine conflict happening this in the month of December. It does feel like the end of the conflict is coming soon, some kind of a real resolution, not a fake one. And I do feel like we're going to be seeing a resolution on that January, February-ish, but the groundwork is being set right now, and it's not the really shit deal that's in front of Zelensky right now. It's a better deal, okay? And but there is something like that coming. It feels like in December. What else? Okay, I think that's it I had for this list. I might come back. In Wednesday. But one thing I wanted to say, about Thanksgiving, you guys. And I pulled some cards. The cards are really interesting, so we'll talk about that. I wanted to say something about Thanksgiving, you guys. Okay, so I've shared this before. My family's a little nutty, and I do personally enjoy Thanksgiving. And I actually had a couple of very aggressively political family members would argue every Thanksgiving about whether Ronald Reagan was a saint or whether he was Satan. I always enjoyed watching that, you guys. I would encourage you to kind of come at Thanksgiving and holiday events with that same spirit of, oh, I wonder what's going to happen this time, instead of, I'm going to try and change grandma and I'm going to try and get her to not be, the way she is. You're not going to change grandma. You're not going to change your family. You're not going to make them less weird, less anti-Semitic, less racist, less any of those things. Just observe it and watch it. I had a client a few years ago who was a screenwriter, and she used to sit there with a little notebook and write down some of the dialogue from the crazy things that her family would say. And she said that she used it in her plays. I would encourage you to kind of approach it with that sensibility, and just appreciate people for where they are right now and not try to change them, and just enjoy the humor of it. If you can watch it and laugh at it, it can be very fun. I've always enjoyed it. I did always enjoy watching my family fight about politics, especially since most of the time half the stuff they were saying on both sides was completely wrong. It's just fun to watch. Okay. But if you can appreciate that and enjoy, a nice piece of turkey and a whole lot of pie, I think you're going to have a nice time of it. If you try to go in there with, I'm going to change, I'm going to make them see the light, that is not the way it's going to work out. Don't try. Just go appreciate, respect, pet grandma's doggy. I know she overfeeds her. Just watch it anyway. Okay. Interesting cards I pulled. Okay. I think I can show, actually, I'm trying to see. Okay. This is the devil card. I know there's things you can't show on YouTube, and somebody else got in trouble for this, so I'm going to go with their recommendation. Devil card is interesting because it is a little bit about, where are you not being authentic? I know a lot of people see this and they think it's about, I don't know if I can use the word addiction. I guess I can use the word addiction. I don't necessarily see it as that. I see it as the dark and the light working their magic through December. There is a lot of that happening in December, a lot of stuff being revealed and a lot of information coming to the surface. This is about cooperation. It's interesting because I see a lot of people cooperating on both sides. You guys are seeing this with the Epstein issue. Both sides of the aisle are cooperating to try and get this information out there and to get something resembling justice for these victims. It's sad for me to think this, but I don't think there will be any justice happening on the earth plane for these people. It just isn't. That's just not how the game is played. But there is cosmic justice, and that has and is already happening, you guys. Okay. A little bit of walking away from what no longer serves you. Some of you guys are going to be walking away from stuff in December that no longer serves you, or at least deciding to leave a situation, maybe even moving. I actually do see a lot of people plotting and planning moves that happen January and February of next year. But look at what you're deciding to let go of, because most of you guys, something is leaving your life and something new is coming in. Maybe you start to decide what you want to bring in, or as my mentor, Michelle Miche, would say, where is the energy leaving and where is it going? So what's it leaving and what's it going to? And what is that next thing? This is something that a lot of you guys are going to be leaving things that no longer part of your life's path and moving to something else. And I do see that happening more in December. The leaving in December. I'm covering this card. This is the Lover's card. Okay. This is another version of cooperation. This is just like the Two of Cups. Cooperation. Some of you guys are getting new relationships. Some of you guys are just getting new relationships that aren't necessarily romantic. Just the lovers. Yeah, it's the lovers card. That aren't necessarily romantic, but these are going to be collaborative type arrangements. You're going to be seeing more of that. Getting together, connecting with family, connecting with friends in December. I would encourage that. Even if you disagree, I would encourage the getting together part and just having conversations, because it's sad to me to think that we can't have conversations anymore. Oh my God, you guys. I see it in the comments. It's crazy. Like, I see something and you guys disagree. And I'm like, how did the algorithm even send this video to this person who so aggressively feels the opposite? But then the response of, I can't believe you said that. This is my channel. Of course I say what I want. Howling at the moon. Okay, this card is great because it means that stuff's coming in that's going to be a bit of a surprise that you don't really see coming. I feel like this is about the disclosure that we're seeing with the files. We're going to start to get bits and pieces of that now, but I think that even before the Department of Justice releases that information, people are going to start to release that information privately too. And we're going to be seeing more and more of things coming from lawyers' offices, anonymous sources, all of that. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of it in December. It's really going to blow up. Oh my God, you guys, conflict. There's going to be some conflict. Some of you guys are going to be in the middle of it. I would encourage you, if you can, not to get caught up emotionally in this conflict. Most of what's happening doesn't have anything to do with you, and it is distraction from your own personal path, you guys. Just set it aside. Oh, the other thing I didn't have it on my list. I do see there being some kind of a conflict event happening that the US initiates in December. I feel like we've already kind of started it, but that happens more in December. It's a little bit of the last little bit of the administration's desperation to get the narrative to change and shift. It's not going to work, but I do see some kind of a conflict happening that many of us are not going to agree with, and that's unfortunately part of it. Courts, the Hierophant, the courts. There's going to be stuff in the news. I think the Supreme Court's going to be looking at some cases. In the past, I would have said that the Supreme Court would have sided with 47 on everything. I don't think they will on some of this stuff, and I don't see them siding with 47 on the tariffs. I do think that is going to go away, but I don't see refunds coming back to people for that. I feel like they may say, well, you've already collected it. You can keep it, do with it as you will, but I don't see that it being refunded to anyone. I just don't. I hope I'm wrong, because the people that paid the tariffs really should get that money back, but I don't see it happening, guys. And last card I pulled was also more conflict. There's going to be a little bit of conflict the month of December. I would say you may see some personal conflict in your own life, because I pulled this card, kind of a similar card twice, conflicts. So I'm going to say some of you guys are going to be seeing conflict in your own life. I would just encourage you to come at things from a spirit of love, taking care of yourself, spending more time in nature, and definitely around the holidays, if you can, spending more time around the things that matter to you guys, home, family, pets. A lot of you guys are cleaning up space to get new pets in the new year, because there's a lot of things shifting for a lot of people in December. It's almost like a gumbo of things changing and shifting. And seeds planted really in November and December are going to start to take root. January, February, you're going to be seeing a lot of changes, January, February, March-ish. And I think a lot of people are going to be moving, you guys. A lot of people changing jobs, a lot of people moving, a lot of people starting businesses. I'm encouraged by this because I think a lot of it's going to be really, really positive, but some of it's going to be, Yeah, I got this new job and I'm super excited, but oh, now I have to start a new job. It's a lot of work. It can be really stressful. That's why I would say for a lot of you guys, take care of yourself. If you like to go to the gym, go to the gym more often. If you like the yoga, do yoga, and definitely check out that Substack. I'm gonna put a link in the description because I thought that article was just too funny. So, and also shout out to Captain Steve. I love him. And Resistance Live, if you want to see that video where she explains where the different files could be kept and how they just can't completely scrub all of the versions of it, I thought that was really interesting. So there you go. I love you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving. Take care of yourself. Write down some good dialogue about crazy stuff that grandma says, and I'll see you again soon. Okay. Bye. 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 Bye.